Amanda SAXTON Last updated 1329, October 1, 2017. 28 former Auckland Council employees received severance pay ranging from $3,000 up to a whopping $405,739 in the last financial year. A former employee of Auckland Council collected more than $405,000 in severance pay during the last financial year, 6 times as much as the next payment down. The hefty payout has raised red flags for Mayor Phil Goff, who said the matter had been referred to the Office of the Auditor General for independent scrutiny. "I took it up first with our chief executive, who has assured me that proper process was followed." Auckland Mayor Phil Goff was surprised to see such a hefty severance payout in the council's annual report. "But it's my responsibility to the taxpayer just to make sure," he said. Redmore ex-Fletcher building boss got $2.9 million in severance payout. OECD New Zealand puts little emphasis on preventing redundancy. Kapar Council chief given $240K golden handshake. There is no legal cap on severance pay, but the Auditor General's guide for the public sector stipulates the amount must be able to be justified as a proper use of public money. Without the significant outlier, the council's average severance payment last year was just over $21,000. Goff said a confidentiality agreement meant he could not confirm the name of the employee, their salary, or the reason they received severance pay. The large amount does suggest they were a senior employee, though, he said. Auckland Council's high earners. The council's annual report showed 1,151 people on its payroll earned over $100,000, and 6 of them earned between $340,000 and $700,000, the highest pay band. It showed that 28 former employees had received severance payouts of between $3,000 and $405,739 during the 201,617 financial year. Goff said the Auditor General's ruling on the particularly high severance payment had not come back yet, but that he expected it fairly soon. The guide, which was written in 2012, said only about 5% of severance payouts awarded by the Employment Relations Authority and Employment Court were for $15,000 or more in recent years. Without the hefty outlier, the council's average severance payment last year was just over $21,000. Public sector severance. The Auditor General's guide described severance pay as a settlement over and above an employee's contractual agreement. It gets paid out when an employer and employee are in dispute, for instance if the employer loses faith in their employee without valid grounds for firing them, or the employee faces a personal grievance claim. Sometimes when employment difficulties arise, ending the employment relationship with an agreed severance payment can be a reasonable and rational decision, the guide read. Severance payments must be based on a careful assessment of the costs, benefits, and risks of the approach, and on proper legal and tax advice, it added. Stuff.